is the Fantasy Golf Degenerates podcast bringing you this week's Players Championship. As always, this show is sponsored by DraftKings. We really appreciate them sponsoring the show. Use code FGD when signing up over there for the first time. People, as always, I'm joined by everybody's favorite co-host and the king of the couch, Kenny motherfucking Kim. What's up, Kenny?
Byron, what's up, man? A pretty fun back nine, at least, for last week. For Bay Hill, it was thoroughly enjoyable to watch. Lots of crazy shit that happened towards the end. But like you said, we are at Players Week. Is it the fifth major? Is it not? Who the fuck cares? It's a big tournament. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun week.
It is going to be a great week. So, we've got everyone playing, all the big boys. But I was taking a peek, Kenny. Top of the board's interesting. We've got a lot of warts at the top of the players this week. But before we dive into that, we've got bets, we've got DFS, we've got one and dones, we've got hustler plays, we've got Statfishes, we've got it all for you guys here on Fantasy Golf Degenerates. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe wherever you're watching. Tell your aunties and uncles all about that. API, Kenny, how was your week? I had a disgusting week.
It could have been worse. Have been worse. Somehow, some way, I had an easy cash in my cash lineup with 4 of 6 playing the weekend. Like in a faux cut event. Right?
Yeah.
It just seems very, very strange. I mean, I had Gerard who missed a cut. He was in my cash, but I also had Rourke, who didn't play on the weekend, and yet I was like in the top 15% of cash. And I only had like one guy in the top 10 at Oberg. It was a very strange week.
What was Nap's ownership in cash?
25% around there.
Oh,
same as it was basically in GPPs.
Interesting.
So, and then Rory was like, I think 30 or 40 or more. But I had Roy. It was I don't know how everything worked out, but I won in cash. So I got everything back except like a unit. So I lost a unit in DFS. I put in 390, got back 340. Didn't hit in GPPs. Came very close. I was right on the cash line in every single GBP I was in. Of course, most of that was Roy in there, which definitely sucked. I also had a little bit too much Lowry. I had Lowry in 2 lineups. So that one hurt a little bit, but I mean, I'd still take. That's why you play cash, right? You can have a shitty week with shitty lineups and still win, right? So that's why you play cash. That's why you play double ups, and that's why I play each ways. Because again, it wasn't that great of a week, but it did have Oberg. Oberg got me back, I think, almost, except a unit and a half lost there. So instead of losing 16 units, I lost 2.5. So not horrible, because it could have loved to have been after this week. The one things you don't want to see are those 0 for 0 weeks. Right? That's why you want to win. You want to hit in each way. You want to hit your cash lineup if you're having a bad week. It's 3 cashes in a row for my cash line of 3 weeks. Undefeated in signature events. Not sure why. I guess maybe because it's a lot easier to know these golfers. Like every single golfer that's playing the event. It's pretty easy. Still trying to catch up with these newer guys and the guys that are sort of in the bottom of the field when it comes to these events with a cut. But it wasn't horrible. It could have been a lot worse.
I was the guy that had it a lot worse, because my week started off with a 2-unit bet on Patrick Rodgers to beat Brian Campbell in round 1 at -185. And Patrick Rodgers finished T24. Brian Campbell missed the cut. My bet did not cash in round 1. Brian Campbell shot -1 around Arnold Palmer at Bay Hill. And Rodgers shot even, which is what I expected Rodgers to do. And Campbell just shot -1. I think he was like top 20 after the first round and then missed the cut. And Rodgers beat him pretty much every single round after that. So big 3-unit swing there. Alex Noren make a double bogey on the last hole to fall into dead heats for the top 30 bets. Rory obviously had the top 5 and the outright there that was cooking. And then the top 5 was going to help a lot. No, twinged back. Out we go. Shout out to the Twin City Irishman there. But Shane Lowry, I think maybe this Cognizant might have been the straw that broke the Guinness drinking camel's back, because just did not have it going this week. You know, he typically after a bad week, he kind of fires up again. Didn't have it. So tough stuff. Shot a couple guys in round leader markets, but then hung it up early up. Put Ludwig for a round 2 leader, hit it out of bounds on 10. That was pretty much the end of that. Also, I saw him miss a 4-foot putt for you, Kenny. You had him in 1 and done, right?
I had him in 1 and done. He finished 3rd. I mean, it's not horrible. Yeah. I'll take that in the sticky event. It was still like over $1 million.
Yeah, I had Henley 1 and done, less like 2% owned, which he knocked it to like freaking 10 feet on 17. Did you see that shot on 17 that they showed us like playing through? He knocked it to 10 feet and missed the putt in the playing through window. It was incredible. Like
17 is a fun hole. I would say let's get to the actual, down the nitty gritty when it comes to Berger and Bhatia. I mean, that shot that Berger hit on 17 was like so ballsy. Like he'd been sort of playing sort of safe all day. And then he came in and it hit that shot, and it was just bad luck that it rolled over past the green. And that he ended up bogeying that hole, even though that tee shot was pretty fucking incredible. And then you look at Bhatia on 18 after, Berger lays up, tie ball game, and Bhatia hits this insane shot with the left to right, with the back right pin location, back deep right pin location, water all on the right. He gets a little bit lucky right there because that thing, if it was any firm at all, if it didn't rain the day before, probably it's going in the water. More than likely that's going in the water. And Bobby had a really funny round. I mentioned something about it, like heading into the back 9, like, man, I'd rather just see Berger win. Like after he had those 3 birdies in a row on 10, 11, 12, I was like, I'd rather see Berger win than Bhatia because, I mean, we just don't see what Bhatia did in golf that often. Maybe I didn't give it as much credit as I should have, because he gained 16.3 strokes with his putter and with his short game. That's the most since 2020 Patrick Reed. I think Valspar or Valero or one of them. Patrick Reed had 15 strokes gained when he won in 2020. So it's been 6 years since we've seen anything remotely close to what Bhatia has done. I mean, this is not normal shit. And maybe that's why I was, a little bit irritated. I was like, man, he's just getting by. At one point I think he was 17. He had 17 fairways, I think, the first 63 holes.
Yeah.
And then hit every fairway on the back. Nah. Like when the ball striking needed to happen, he came through. I got to give him credit. I got to give him credit because like he was like 36 in ball strike in strokes gained approach going into the back 9. He finished 23rd. Like that's a pretty significant jump for 9 holes. And it's not like he holed out, right? He did gain
almost.
Yeah, he did gain
almost
a
hold out
on that 6-iron on 16, which was the shot of maybe his career
tournament
so far. Right? I mean, it really brought him back into it, and then I think Berger bogeyed 17, and it was a tie ball game going into 18, and then Berger was trying to hit that little stingy
crop duster.
Yeah, he'd been doing it well all day. I know people were talking about like, well, he was playing it too safe. Well, that's what he was doing almost all week. Like that was his drive. Just that fairway, 20 feet above the air, got her up esque, a little stinger. And it was hitting every fairway for the most part, because he was still first in ball striking for the event, right? But he made the mistake, pushed it right. Right is dead. I think there'd been no birdies on 18 from the right rough in like a decade, like in the final few pairings when it comes down to it on Sunday. He missed it there, but a miraculous lay up and then up and down, which is really, really, I thought maybe he found something, was getting able to turn it around, because you could tell he was definitely losing steam in those last few holes. The pressure was definitely getting to him. But and then on the next hole, he plays it on the left side, plays for the cut, doesn't cut on 18 on the tee shot in the first playoff hole, just goes dead straight. Bad luck, nerves, whatever you want to call it. And then, he hits a pretty good shot onto 18. Maybe he could have hit it a little bit farther, maybe get it in that bunker, instead of the putt, because, a 100-foot putt, two putting that is pretty tough, right? Maybe you need to get a little bit more, but of course the water's on the right. You miss a little bit right, you're in the water. So I thought it was a decent shot. Bhatia hit it to, in a safe place on 18 during the playoff. Got his 2-putt, and Berger left about 10 feet, and he missed. So it was a shame, but I guess, that, and the big story is Bhatia cheating with the
on Burgundy?
With the anchor putting. Here's the thing, there's no way to tell. You can't tell. Either the rule needs to be changed, or everyone just needs to deal with it. I mean, I think those are the only, because you can't, you seriously can't. It looks like it. It looks like it, but then you hear players who play with them saying it's not even close. Michael Kim said that today.
Who's gonna out him on tour anyway?
I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't. Berger.
Yeah. If he starts consistently winning, then people will out, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's what he's known for.
Yeah.
Supposedly friends. But I mean, there's no way to tell, because of the shirt. You can't tell if it is, and a lot of times it looks like it that it is. I mean, maybe it is. You just can't tell. So either the PGA has to change, the PGA has to change the rule. The USGA's rule is way different. I mean, at least the visual rule is different. If you follow Ben Coley, he had a post where the USGA had a visual picture of what's legal and what's not. And what Bhatia is doing is not legal according to the USGA, but it's never been called. Yeah. So people do it. So, I mean, you need some sort of either a rule change where, the rule is you have to see space between your layer of clothing and the top of your thumb. That would solve everything, right? Yeah. That would solve everything. If they
what the rule is.
The rule is you can rub it on your clothes. That is the rule. You can rub it on your clothes. That's the rule. But once you do that, it's open to interplayation. It's what people see.
Skin tight shirts
when they're seeing it. You know what I'm saying? That's why you see the majority of players who do the anchor wear pretty loose clothing, right? Yeah. I mean, I think it has to be part of the reason why they are wearing loose clothing. So, I mean, there's if Bhatia is cheating or not, it doesn't really matter when no one is enforcing the rule. The easiest way to make this happen and not have people be tattletales or the PGA and the USGA piss golfers off by calling it on them is tweaking the rule. Tweak the rule so it says there must be a visible gap between the top of the club or your thumb that's holding the top of the club to where your clothesline is. You cannot touch your clothes. It's that simple. It's that simple. But
it's the PGA Tour.
They glad hand players. Everything's directed towards the players being comfortable, right? And so that's why they don't call on them, and that's why it leaves this type of negative aspect of his win, which is a shame because what he did was really impressive, right? To battle back with 4 birdies and an eagle on the back 9 at Bay Hill to win. I mean, that's incredibly impressive feat. And it sort of seems like it's down a little bit from where people really should be celebrating his win because of this. And I don't blame Bhatia. They're not calling it. If you're not cheating, you're not trying, right? I mean, so what they have to do in this case is the rule needs to be tweaked. And if the rule's not tweaked, don't blame the players. Blame the PGA. Because the rule has to be enforced for it to be a rule. And if they're not going to enforce the rule, then it technically is not a rule. And people who are doing it are going to take advantage of it. That's just human nature. And maybe he's not taking advantage of it. We just don't know.
Yeah.
We can't tell based upon what we're seeing. I mean, it looks like he's anchoring, but he says he doesn't. Everyone around him says he's not. And they're the ones that are like right next to him, right? And so, I mean, like, I can't blame the player for this, even though like people want to. It's the PGA Tour's fault, like most shit that's happening in pro golf. They do not follow through with the rules. It's plain and simple. That's it.
Yep.
And they don't want to because they don't want to piss golfers off, which is fucking stupid. Like it fucks the integrity of the game. And what golf is about, the number one thing about golf is integrity, right? So that's why they believe the players, because it's that part of the game where you believe in honesty, you believe in integrity. But what it's doing instead, maybe they are not breaking the rules. Maybe they're following the rules. But what it looks like from the outside in is these motherfuckers are cheating and no one's calling you. And so it ruins the integrity of the game. And I'm not blaming the players for this. I'm blaming the tour.
Don't hate the player, hate the game. You know, I think that's, but there is a small bit of onus on the guys that want to use a broomstick, because we all know the stigma is attached to the broom, you know, like use a mallet, go from a blade to a mallet. I'm cool with that. That's normal. You know, it's what everyone inside the top 10 is using. The broomstick is, it's decrepit, it's lame, it's old man shit, and you're bringing it on yourself if you are using it. But when you're winning $3.6 million, I don't think he cares.
Yourself, you're winning events with it. Look at Adam Scott, how much his putting has improved.
That's what I just said. Like, he doesn't give a shit because $3.6 million is in the bank account now. Like, you know, now, are we speaking about it? Yes. Does he care? No. You know, again, it's like, it is what it is. So what I also found quite interesting, Kenny, was the amount of shit talking the crowd in Florida had for Daniel Berger. He's a Florida guy, and they were just giving him like such a hard time. Like,
he's not likable. And
he's not likable, but
gambling aspect has something to do with it. I mean, this is something that the players are going to have to get used to. We've talked about this before. Chirping is going to become the norm. Now that the gambling aspect of the sport is, you know, I mean, even the PGA Tour has gambling sponsors, right? That's where the money is. And if you go into that territory, this is what's going to come with it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. People are going to chirp. And if they are chirping after the swing, so be it. I mean, I have no problem with that. I mean, as long as it doesn't involve, like, you know, family, or you're not cussing and there's kids around or something like that, the players just got to get used to it. You know, this is a different generation of golf fans that we have, good or bad.
Yeah. It's a generation that's never been punched in the face. That's the problem.
This is where we are. This is where we are. And so, I mean, like, the bitch about it is whatever. It makes you look like a pussy, because this is what is going. I'm talking from a golfer perspective, not you, Byron. You're not a pussy. But like,
I mean, debatable.
But from a golfer's perspective, they have to deal with it. It's a part
Absolutely. Yeah. If there's 3 people that's watching this that bitch, like, talk shit to golfers, like, with 0 repercussions, stop that, please. Like, that's all. It's my plea. It's my token to the public now. Just chill. You know, like, cheer for the people. Like, don't, unless you're a Jets fan, I get it. You know, like, whatever. But
see, this is anything to cheer fine here, because this is professional sports. These are athletes. I get,
but it's golf.
I get the concept of the game and how the game has been played and how you honor the game with the way you act, right? And for the majority of pro golf, the fans have acted accordingly in that situation. But that's just not where we are now.
Yeah.
Right. And that doesn't look like it's going to change. Right. So there's really no point in bitching and complaining about it. You have to learn to deal with it. It is now going to be a part of this sport that it's just what it is. And you know, if people want, and the thing is, like, you know, we need more fans, right? Like, do we want to like not have this specific type of fan enjoying golf? Well, then what's going to happen in the future? Right? Like, because this is those kids, those young people are our future fans of pro golf for the next 50 years. Right?
Yeah.
Like, if
yeah.
that new group, then what's going to happen to the sport as it keeps on growing and goes, into the future, right? You have to have these fans on board, and that's what these fans bring. And so I get why people like the purists do not like it, and I understand that completely. But it's a new day and age. Like, this is not the golf of your dad. This is not even the golf of like your older brother, probably, right? I mean, it's a different age that we're in, and you have to adjust, and you have to do what's best for the sport. And is what's best for the sport alienating these group of fans who are the future of golf, or just dealing with it? It's dealing with it and having it as a part of the game now that you as players have to deal with every round, every shot. That's just it's the new age.
Sad, but true. This is the world we live in, Genny. It's a tough situation. Either way, Puerto Rico.
Well, before we go to Puerto Rico, we actually did have a winner for a YouTube comment.
Ooh,
yeah, we forgot to check, but we had Chad Candles. Light the candle, Chad. Let's go.
He's been a long-time listener, I'm pretty sure.
Long-time listener. We'll be sure to reach out to him for a free month in the Model Maniac Patreon. Congrats, Chad. I believe that will just be a free month since I believe you are in there already. So shout out to you. Get a little comp month action. For those of you that are new to the show, there's a lot of you that comment before the videos even finish playing. So we appreciate you guys for doing that. It helps the algorithm a lot. Be sure to comment below. Let us know who's going to win this week at the Players Championship. The first name to guess the correct name that wins this week gets a free month into the Model Maniac Patreon. You get all my tools, all my Discord channels, all of that stuff as we're rocking and rolling over there. Be sure to let us know in the comments below who's going to win. Make sure you check the comments so you're not duplicating people, because we check the timestamps there, and the first person to mention it is the winner, if there is a winner. Kenny Kim.
Before we move on, let's talk about Batia real quick. Let's talk about Akshay. 24 years old. Just turned 24, I think a month and a half ago. Third win on tour. Started with an alt event, then a normal whatever event, mid-tier, and now a Sigma. Like, I never really thought of him as a potential superstar. I thought it was going to be a very, very good, like the likes of like a Sung Jae-in or something like that. Like a really, really good player, but probably not a major guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
You think he's got majors in him?
It's going to be coming down to the driver, like, because to putt the way he did, I didn't play him in Showdown in round 4 because I honestly thought the putter was going to melt under the pressure, because he was putting so well. Like, he was like an ode to Cam Smith, where Cam lost 5 strokes off the tee at the Players in 2022 and still won the tournament by gaining with the putter, and that was literally what was happening. I didn't think he could continue that. Nope, rolling in like 50 footers. So was he just in the zone? I don't know. I think he is capable of what we saw on that back 9, Kenny. When you get in the heat of the moment, Daniel Berger did not lose that tournament. I don't think. Maybe on the last hole,
it was not like Lowry. It was not
Akshay.
Berger got beat.
Yeah, Berger was thinking, if I shoot level par on this back 9, I'm winning this tournament.
Easy.
Meanwhile, Akshay shoots a 31. Like, when you're making the birdie and you're getting caught on a par 5, times are tough. So Akshay had
Berger shot 70. He shot 200 par.
Yes. So it was a crazy sequence of events. Could you argue that, when Berger knew the situation had changed, maybe he needed to chip it on 17, hit the fairway on 18, that kind of stuff. I do think his caddy was probably telling him a little more like conservative plays, things like that. But whatever, that's Berger. Akshay, you can see when guys enjoy being in the moment. And he looked so calm and collected. It was incredible. And like you mentioned, that ball striking performance on the back nine was legendary. You know, like that 6-iron, saucy, so saucy on that
It
part.
was so good. That 6-iron is so good, and just to have the balls to hit the shot that he hit on 18.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, like when you know your boy's in trouble, it's tied. He's like, "Fucking, I'm going for the gusto," right? And maybe it was an accident. It probably was an accident. I don't think he was.
He pulled it. He definitely pulled it.
Right of the hole. Right?
And
yeah, I seriously doubt that. But you could tell that he was still being aggressive in the shot shape that he has. So I don't know. We'll see if he can do these majors. I mean, he's 24. Like the room for improvement and being so young is there. We'll see how much he grows and how big of a win this is for his confidence. Because you know, a huge win. You get to put on the Arnie sweater, right? And I mean, it's a big time event that he won. So good for him. I don't hate on the anchoring as much as a lot of other people do.
yeah,
But you know, do what you got to do. If they're not going to fucking call it, do it. I blame the PGA on that.
Yep.
And it's a sort of a shame because again, it sort of puts a downturn on the highlight of his incredible win.
yeah. From a majors perspective, Kenny, he's played in 9 majors, and he's got a T16 at the 2024 US Open, where he gained short game and just about lost ball striking. So he's going to have to work on the ball striking element and be a bit more consistent there, I think, if he wants to really contend in majors, because he doesn't have anything better.
I don't know.
Old people tend to win the Open, at least a while ago. You know, like, I don't know. The talent is obviously there, and the ability to handle the pressure. For someone that has been very open about his mental health, sometimes if you don't have your shit together, when you get put under pressure, like the screws burst, you know, they pop out, and didn't look like it. Like, he's such a goofy looking guy as well, you know, with those big nerdy glasses and just balls out. So hopeful. Obviously, majors are a totally different kettle of fish, but again, he's only played in 9. He's 24 years old. Like, he's got a long way to go still. So if he keeps winning like this, golf on the PGA Tour is stress-free, because you're not playing for your cards, you're playing for wins, you know. So he's exempt, you know, for 2 more years now, and that's great.
More than that, I think you get an extra year if you win one of these events. I think.
Yeah,
I could be
whatever,
wrong.
you know, whatever. 2-3 years, and in addition to the Valero, you know, I think the more times you win, the more I think you can like stack them, kind of thing. But props, man, props to him. I didn't think it was like doable, you know, when he made the turn, because he started off bad, very bad. Like, that first shot could have gone out of bounds, out the rough. Hit it, you know, got a little lucky with some of the misses as well. You know, he missed a couple of fairways
going into 10. And then birdie 10, 11, 12, hard 13, I think birdie 14, and then eagled 16.
Yeah. And what my favorite part about his back 9 escapade was, has a stock standard chip. Next thing, he's standing over there going full Matt Fitzpatrick. Left hand low on the chip.
Oh, I didn't even know.
See that? No. Yeah. One of the chips he hit when he made bogey, he went left hand low. And I think Smiley or someone on the broadcast mentioned he uses that technique. He's been working on it to try and get a bit more spin on the ball. And Kiz said, I don't know why you do that there, because you didn't need more spin. You're chipping right into the grain. So weird shot selection that you will learn from. He laughed right after he hit it. He's like, I can't believe I just did that kind of thing. And that +2 on the front 9 should have been +5, +6. Easy. He could have shot himself out of the tournament, but he kept it under control with the putter, man. It was incredible stuff. So props to him. You know, I think he's going to be a repeat winner on the PGA Tour. I think we'll have to, you know, level up the ball striking a little bit for the majors. But I'm ambitious. Berger hadn't finished inside the top 5 in forever, Kenny. And I was just waiting for the wheels to fall off. And they never. Because I was on him at the Honda in 2022 or 2021 when he blew that 5-shot lead just on a Sunday. He had a 5-shot lead through 36 holes. And just foot on the gas. Execution, greens, and fairways and greens. And for someone that hasn't been in that moment for a long time, he hasn't been in contention for years. He handled it fantastically, especially with how he blew that lead at the Honda, you know. So I think props to him, gamer as well, you know. So fun stuff. Scotty, first time he's lost on approach since the 2024 BMW Championship, and has yet to gain more than 4 strokes per tournament on approach yet this year, which he only had 4 instances in 2024 where he didn't gain more than a shot per round. And he hasn't, he's like
only like the 4th time since the end of 2022 where he's had like back-to-back double-digit finishes.
Probably.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think this is only like the 4th time since. And the thing is, like, what's happened is, you know, we put Scotty in this high pedestal. I mean, his ownership could be the lowest it's ever been, like in the last 2 or 3 years this week. And if you look at his numbers, like he's done this 4 times before where he's finished double-digit, you know, finishing position in back-to-back events. And like the next event has been like 3rd, 2nd, 4th. It's always been another strong finish. I don't think he's had 3 in a row. Where he's finished like, you know, double-digit finishing position. It looks like this could be the one because of the way his iron game is playing. But this is Scotty. Like, would you be shocked if he went out and won? Probably not. Maybe a little bit more shocked than you would have been like a month ago, right? But it wouldn't like the craziest thing, and you might be getting him in like 20%, right? Or even less, maybe. I don't know, because like, you know, like I said, he's 88th in strokes gain approach for the year, right?
That's his superpower.
No, it's definitely. I thought about using him as a hustler play this week.
14-2 hustler play.
I don't know if I could have gotten away with that. I don't know.
Ain't nobody got time for that, Kenny Kim.
Yeah, I don't know if I could have gotten away with Scotty as a hustler play. You're definitely going to get lower ownership than usual on him. And I don't know. Is it too early to give up on him? Probably. Like, I don't know. We'll see. For the 2-time defending champion, you know, the guy who's won this twice in the last 3 years, Scotty Scheffler. We'll see. But there was some other golf that was pretty interesting this past weekend. I know you're about to mention something before I stopped you.
I can't remember. Keep going.
Well,
I just shut it out.
Yeah, Puerto Rico. Yeah, Castillo, I guess is what people call him. I don't know. It looks like Castillo, but everyone on the broadcast call him Castillo. So whatever. You know, he got his win. Blades Brown was up there in contention. That Blanchett guy, young guy, was in there. A lot of youth in that Puerto Rico, and we've seen guys, you know, come from that Puerto Rico. And the first one that comes to mind is, I guess, Tony Finau. Finau. That was his first win on tour. You know, but there's been others. Him and Steve Marino battling it out in the playoff, where Tony hit it like in the other fairway on 18 on the playoff hole every single time, so they could avoid the water on the left on 18. He just aimed for the 17th fairway or some shit. It had a perfect angle to the green every single time. Did it like 4 times in a row in that playoff. I'll never forget that one. I'm pretty sure I hit Tony that week, and that's why I remember it so vividly. Either that or he was in my DFS line. It was one of the two. But yeah, you know, good win for Castillo. He's actually played really well in Florida. I mean, $62 this week.
We'll see, man. I don't know. It's always interesting to see these guys show up, because he was right in contention at the Cog, and then, you know, kind of stumbled down the stretch a little bit. But all you need is to just get rid of a couple big names, and then you go to Puerto Rico and take care of business. You see Blades made a triple with like 3 or 4 holes to go or something. It reminded me perfectly of, we just seen the replays of Rory hitting his ball in the water at the Honda Classic from that bunker, I think on 16 or 15. And because Shane hit it in the water, they were showing Rory hitting in the water. And then Rory said, you know what? I won 2 majors that year. So don't worry, Shane. All's good. Shane landed up missing the cut in epic fashion. But that Blades Brown bunker shot was the exact same thing, like a flare out to the right-hand side into the water out of the bunker. So there is a lot of Rory McIlroy in old Bladesy. And, obviously he almost broke the course record at the Nicholas course at the Amex. So the boy can go low and he's got game. So unfortunately got paired with Siwoo Kim and Scotty Scheffler in the final round of that tournament. So he seems like he's still trying to figure out how to handle the nerves a bit better, but a T3 can do a lot of good for your confidence. And I believe he gets into the Valspar now because of the top 10 over there. And he's a name that just needs 1 or 2 starts that will then eventually get tons of sponsors exemptions because he's obviously a massive draw as an 18-year-old, So guy can't celebrate for 3 years if he wins on the PGA Tour. So kind of crazy to think about it that way. So interesting stuff.
Yeah,
See, Zach Johnson won on the Champions Tour.
Zach Johnson with the Senior Tour. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, we should think definitely, if you're a gambling folk, we should think about like the newest toy on the Senior PGA Tour, like because this is not the first time this has happened. This is like the second or third time in the last 2 years where a guy has gotten on tour and won like on the Champions Tour and won their first or second event, like a major winner, right? Who have done well. I think Furyk did it. I'm pretty sure Furyk did it when he got there. So like if you see like a former major winner that it still plays on the PGA Tour up until like 49 years old, and then plays his first, Champions Tour event, that might be, an auto click, right?
Absolutely.
And it seems like that seems like a pretty easy, smart bet to do because these guys are still playing on the big boy tour and still making cuts and shit. And now they're playing against, 55-year-olds and shit like that, 60-year-olds. They should have a decided advantage. In that. So it's something to just keep in mind when you're doing your golf betting. But there's also Zach Johnson. There's also Doc Redman, who won the Corn Ferry Tour, his first win. The thing is, he wasn't even. This is from Monday Q. He didn't even have playing status on the Corn Ferry Tour until he Monday qualified for the Sanderson. Had a good finish there. Then played like the next week, had a good finish. Then had a good finish at the RSM to have a conditional status on the Corn Ferry Tour. So that Monday qualifying in the fall swing led to him getting his first victory on the Corn Ferry Tour this past week, which is really crazy.
That's sick.
Yeah, I mean, the fall events. Pretty important, right?
Yeah.
Even if the guy's not even going to make it on the PGA Tour, at least get on a Corn Ferry and see what happens, and he gets his first win. And talent's always been there. We've been talking about Doc Redman for the last 6, 7, 8 years, right? Yeah. Trying to get him his first win because most of us have seen the talent is there. It hasn't been all right in the head, and he looked good at the Corn Ferry. But I think the biggest win outside of Bhatia this week was Jon Rahm, because getting that monkey off of his back, 4, 5, 6 runner-ups or some insane number like that, finally getting his win. And this is like angry Rahm. You sort of want angry Rahm because of his comments before with the DP World Tour, where he's the only one that's not signing the paper. He's like, fuck this shit. I ain't playing 6 events. No, hell no. Everyone else is like, cool. I'm in. Hatton, cool. Yeah. Man, all the other guys, cool. I'm in. Just let me play some DP World Tour so I can get some more world golf points so I can get into a major. Well, John doesn't have to worry about that. He's won his major. He's good for a while, right? And he's like, I don't want to do this. It's sort of making him out to be a villain. Even Rory talked about him a little bit. Well, I mean, talked a little S about him during the week where, he said he would pay the fine if it came down to it to play in the Ryder Cup. Well, is he going to do it? It was what Rory said. And Rahm playing with a chip on the shoulder is the best Rahm there is. I think this sort of leaves him open for Augusta. It leaves him.
I have a question though, Kenny. Is he going to have Harold Varner III and Thomas Dietrich in the final group with him at Augusta? Like, to me, all you need to know about this whole situation was the cheesy ass grins on HV3 and Thomas Dietrich after Jon Rahm won. There's no way any PGA Tour player gets their ass beat in a final round on PGA Tour and is that happy for the guy who won. It's pathetic, actually. You know, like, you cannot walk off the green that happy. I'm sorry. Like, but it's HV3 and Thomas Dietrich, like the two perennial biggest losers on the PGA Tour outside of the waste management touchdown and an extra point that Dietrich had. But I mean, it couldn't have been an easier setup for Rahm to win that. You know, like, you had those two guys that he had to beat, and they've never ever really shown any mettle in.
Dietrich was
in
smiling
contention.
because they won the team competition, so he won $1 million. Right? So
Yeah,
I wouldn't
it's
really
like-
be happy with that. AK had to make a couple of putts down at the end, even though he wasn't in contention. You know, with him and DJ weren't in contention, but they made some good putts at the end to get that win. But I mean, live is live, right? I mean, it's what it is. But the thing is, like, I get it, but I mean, it's still better field than the Corn Ferry Tournament, right? You know, I would say. And
He's
they're
top
getting-
heavy wise, yeah.
I think, you know, Angry Rahm is Hulk Rahm is maybe what we need back for him to be back to where he needs to be when it comes to majors. I wouldn't be shocked if he performs well at Augusta here in a month.
That was his first win since September of 2024.
Yeah.
A
Been a
long
while.
time for one of the best players in the world, you know. So we'll see what he gets up to going forward. But I do think it'll be fun to see him at the majors, because he also hasn't really shown up at majors for a while. If you're taking a look at his major stuff, he hasn't had a major top 5 since the 2023 Open Championship. So it's time for him to get it together. So we'll see how that goes. Also, I just want to tie a bow. Adam Scott is 45 years old, 8 months, and he's hitting it at 190 miles per hour, friends. If he can just lose a mile per hour per year and show up to the senior tour with 185 mile per hour ball speed, I will be I'll sell my house and put all of that money on Adam Scott, because that would be hilarious. You're just out driving people by like a football field. So I don't know.
He
We'll
looks
see.
strong.
He's such
Yeah,
a, he went from being handsome to just incredibly athletic at the same time now. So shout out to that Aussie. Good stuff there. Anything else? Oh, I had pool league wrapped up for the season, and we had the Chilli cook-off. For those of you that followed me on Twitter, I shared my recipe there. It's a 10-ingredient recipe. It's a can of Hummels chili with beans, and then 9 more cans of Hummels with chili and beans. So you just put 10 cans of stock Hummels that I went to the Dollar General. I spent $28 on 10 cans of Hummels and a bag of Gummy Cluster Nerds, and I finished 3rd in the Chili cook-off.
Wait, so you just used chili and then add anything else to it?
I added some red pepper flakes to it. That was it. And I watched people go and slap up this canned chili the entire time I was playing pool. It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And then as the night went on, I showed like 1 or 2 people videos of it, and it just got funnier and funnier, because like there was so many beans in that chili. It was hilarious.
I like beans in my chili. When it comes to chili, if you're eating chili like a hearty meal, beans. If you're eating chili that goes on top of a hot dog, no beans. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was. We were like taste testing it, so having that texture there was good. And I did research what is the best canned chili. So like I at least got the premium product, you know, of the Wendy's chili was like $4.50 per can, which is real spendy, you know, especially after Larry on Twitter, you know, couldn't really validate that it was the better chili out there. So
like 30
lots of fun. Yeah, looks good. Looks good. Just on a Wendy's chili diet. I do want to shout out a loyal listener of the show, Dennis. Congratulations on winning your 2nd pool league here in town. And he's never been kicked into the loser's bracket. He's never been beaten in back-to-back pool tournaments now, and is just such a savage. So shout out to you, my brother. It was good stuff watching Dennis the Menace do his thing over there. So I tried to not have a swearing podcast for you and your wife in honor of the win, but we've already messed that up. So maybe next week we'll do it. So congratulations there. Kenny Kim, anything else you got to say?
For me this week, because if you guys want, I was on Pat's show Thursday. It's his news show. I was on CJ Sullivan, who's a comic. He does gambling stuff for the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Funny show. It was basically a best of story time with Kenny Kim. I told multiple old story time stories. So if you're looking for a laugh, it's the players are trying to keep it straight golf this week for the new people that come and listen. But you can get those crazy stories. If you're here for those crazy stories, go listen to Pat's show from this past Thursday with me and CJ. Funny thing, I guess, Tim listened to the show. He said he had to put his hands over his ears multiple times during that show. So lots of great stories and stuff. So if you want my story time with Kenny, go listen to that. This week, let's just do the golf and let's actually get started. Let's talk about this week. The top golfers in the world, they head to Ponte Vedra, Florida for the Players Championship at TPC Sawgrass. Total purse, 30 million, 25 million, some ridiculous number. Now, every golfer wants to come here and test their wares and win this event and get a healthy fucking paycheck, right? Another reason golfers like this course so much is because any type of golfer can win here. There is no type that consistently does well here. Everyone has a chance. You can see, as you can see with some of the past winners, right? You have Tim Clark, KJ Choi, Stephen Ames, Fred Funk, right? Some of the old names that we've seen. But what I will say is, since it moved to a March start in 2019, the winners have been Rory, Scheffler, and Smith. That's it. That's it. Maybe you could throw in Hideki
and JT.
And JT. And then you could maybe throw in Decky in there for his run after round one of the COVID Players Championship. Pretty top names that we've seen. But it's still a place where people can still contend with any type of skill set. I mean, you look at Cam Smith and you look at Rory, not very similar skill sets there, right? It could still get done. Like I said, the tournament moved from May to March a few years ago. So there are some differences on the course compared to when they played in May. The biggest differences are probably the greens, the rough, and the wind change. The greens are overseeded with Poetry Alice this time of year, which usually leads to them being more receptive. Now, I will say they have not had much rain there, but it's looking like a deluge Wednesday and Thursday or something like that. So they could get the rain. It could play pretty soft this week, especially if it doesn't rain the rest of the week. Maybe by Sunday we see some more firmer conditions. But from what I'm hearing, there's a shit ton of rain in the forecast that first round.
And a lot of wind on Friday.
Yeah, I'm seeing 30
40 mile per hour gusts
on Friday and stuff like that. We'll see how that plays out. Again, it's Monday.
Yeah.
When we're recording, Monday at 4:30 when we're recording this. Now, the greens aren't your typical Bermuda because if you're overseed. Some say the greens are very smooth and easier to putt on, with these type of grass conditions. The prevailing winds at Sawgrass differ from March to May. The biggest issue when it comes to golfers in the wind change is 17 and 18. With the prevailing winds now north to northeast, it's going to make the final two holes dramatically more difficult. If the wind blows hard, golfers will no longer be hitting a wedge on the 17th hole and will likely be putting out driver on 18 instead of a hybrid iron. Tiger has said that he's hit 6-iron in the 17 before in early spring conditions. Jason Day hit a 2-iron wedge on 18 the year he won, but in 2021, he said he had to play driver 5-iron, right? I mean, the wind is a big, big difference, especially on those last two holes. And it's going to make it a lot more fun. If you got a 1 or 2 stroke lead going into that, be wary. Be wary, especially if that wind's blowing directly in your face, which more than likely it is, because that is a prevailing wind this time of year. Now, again, these changes make it sort of difficult to use course history prior to 2019, right? Because it's such a drastic change from what you've seen. Again, the weather, huge factor. We'll see what happens. I'm seeing rain early. I'm seeing wind early. Make sure to check tee time stacks. Very viable this week. I probably shouldn't have bet what I've bet, but I did already, right? Another big thing is 14 of the last 16 winners AM PM wave. 14 of the last 16 winners have been in the AM PM wave. We'll see if that happens again, but there's a lot of trends. Here's some trends for this course. 14 of the last 16 winners have had a top 5 prior to their win in the same calendar year. The last 19 winners have had a top 25 here in the past. The last 10 winners have had a top 33 in a prior tour start before their win. 10 of the last 12 winners have won a major. Now, granted, a bunch of them are, Rory and Scheffler.
Buddy JT.
10 of the last 12 winners have won a major. Cam Smith is one of the only players that won a major, but it happened after his players win. The two that sort of fell out of here are Fowler and Siwoo, who haven't won majors. So all the way since like Kaiman won in like the early 2014s is when we've seen this. Now, do we listen to all these trends? Probably not, but it's just something to look for. Basically, to me, what it's telling me is like the top-notch golfer wins this event here recently more than the scrubs that we saw earlier prior to the date change. Now, the meat of the course, TPC Sawgrass, Pete Dye design par 72 course of pace, plays around 7,350 yards, 4 par 3s, 4 par 5s. 3 of the par 5s reachable by most, and the par 5 ninth hole can only be reached in 2 by the longest of hitters. There were a few changes to the course a few years ago. The bunkers have been redone, added a water hazard. The 12th hole added a new tee box to make it a drivable par 4. And the green complexes were redone from Mini Verde Bermuda to Tiff Eagle Bermuda. With the date change, overseeding, and the fact that the greens are now at 7-8 years old, I think the greens are going to be more receptive than they played in May. Off the tee, golfers will face narrow tree-lined fairways with bunkers and water on play on almost all shots off the tee. 17 holes have water in play. Over 24 acres of water are on this course. Like most Pete Dye designs, there are many different types of dog legs on many of the holes. This will lead to players hitting less than driver on many of the holes played. The rough was up around 3.5 to 4 inches last year. From what I've seen right now, it's even thicker than that, is what it looks like. We'll see if they cut it as the weeks, but I would say assume 3.5 to 4 inches minimum this week. Now, keep in mind that the rough is now overseeded with rock, right? Which makes it a lot easier to control shots out of than pure Bermuda. But again, when it's 5 inches thick, not so much, right? So we'll see. The thing is 3.5 inch Bermuda overseeded with rye. It's tricky, but not like impossible. 5 inches, now you're talking real tough, right? So we'll have to see where they cut it this week. The fairways have a lot of mounds and undulation, can be very firm if the course is dry. Missing it in the rough on the right side can make golfers' approach shots difficult because of the stadium mounds. And I really think TPC Sawgrass is a stadium course because of the seating, the atmosphere, 17. But Pete Dye also made these stadium mounds, which are like these hills on the right side where spectators can stand and have a better view of the golfers. He did that on purpose. But what it does for golfers if they miss right is, they can have a lot of uneven lines, right? The issue is when you miss left, it's even more of a problem, right? Even more of a problem when you miss left. So you'd probably rather miss right on those stadium mounds than miss left, because left a lot of the time is dead at Sawgrass. Like it's 2-1 in strokes lost when comparing to hitting it to the left rough, hitting it to the right rough. So, you'd rather miss on the right side. Trust me, when it comes to it. Now, let's see. The greens themselves, multi-tiered, undulated, and tricky, which is very typical Pete Dye design. Since 92, there's been more 3-putts on this course than any other course on tour. Non-major course on tour, even Augusta. More 3-putts. Now, probably because it's been 34 years of play, could be one reason why.
It's a total.
Yeah. But still, tons of 3-putts on this. The course uses Tiff Eagle Bermuda, overseeded with Pova Trivialis on greens. They're going to be fast, hopefully with a stick meter rating around 12.5. The outcome of the tournament is going to be the final 3-hole stretch. Nerve-wracking, but it can be played under par if golfers can get over the nerves and the intimidation factor. 16 reachable par 5, a lot of trouble around the green. Anything from a 3 to an 8 is possible. I think our Cabrera Bayo made like a double eagle here on 16 a few years ago. So basically anything can happen. Then golfers move to the iconic island green at 17, which in reality is like one of the 6 easiest holes on the course. But when you're coming down the stretch on Sunday with the wind blowing, it's a different fucking story, right? Of course, it's going to make the course play a lot harder. Golfers, and then the 18th, it's a visual and physical test. It's very, very hard. Long par 4, water down the entire left side. Since 2003, the holes play like 2,500 strokes over par. 18. The tournament could definitely be won or lost on these last 3 holes. Byron, what boxes do you need checking from golfers this week? What are you looking for in golfers this week?
Awesome breakdown as always, Kenny. Love all of that. You mentioned the overseeded rough and how high it could land up being. We're going to be getting a lot of rain. Sometimes that can stop people from cutting the grass as much as they want, because mowers and water and things like that can be an issue. But even though there is sub-air, I think, at the players, we've seen when there's been an abundance of water that these greens can just get super receptive, which can completely nullify, like what we saw at the Genesis 3 weeks ago, when, guys were coming out of that Kikuyu rough and just sticking the ball. So soft greens can really eliminate tough rough. Usually tough rough and firm conditions go really nice in hand together there. Thought I'd just share that because conditions make a big difference when you kind of, handicapping a golf course. So I've taken a look at the easy, medium, hellish, and hard conditions here at TPC Sawgrass, and the majority of them have been hell. Scores are over par here more often than not because of the abundance of water. So the first box we want to be checking here is hard and hellish scoring conditions. These are the best guys in hard conditions over the last 14 months. And I'm also filtered by hellish conditions to have over 0.9 strokes gained. So both boxes need to be checked in order to check this one box. So these guys that have fantastic over par scoring conditions: Marco Penge, Marty Doe, Rory McIlroy, Tommy Fleetwood, Matt Fitzpatrick, Russell Henley, S.H. Kim, Scotty Scheffler, Chris Gotterup, Sepp Straka, and Christopher Wrighton all gain 1.2 strokes per round over there. And if I filter off to hellish conditions, Scotty Scheffler's numero uno by 0.8 strokes over Rory McIlroy. So he's got 3.2 strokes there, then Rory 2.4. Haotong Li. Premium ball strikers tend to show up in hellish conditions because you can avoid bogeys by just hitting the greens nonstop. So Haotong Li, Marco Penge, Austin Smotherman, Marty Doe, Pearson Coody, Corey Connors, Bobby Mack, Jordan Spieth, Zach Bauschau, and Tommy Fleetwood, with Christopher Wrighton wrapping out that box over there. So excuse me while
I will say it's nice seeing Marty Doe in both of those because I sort of had him as a sleeper in that low 6K range for this week. And to see him that high up on hard and hellish condition courses makes me think that, he's definitely viable.
Absolutely. Granted, it's all raw strokes gained, so that's the strokes he gained on the KFT for the most part, but there were still hard conditions on the KFT, and when they were there, he dominated. So it's good to see that, right? It's a nice emphasis point in that department. Then I'm going to show you guys the micro model over here and the top ranked guys. For that, it basically takes a granular level of every single shot. If I show you the micro model up front, it's using the specific metrics for each hole to determine how many times the person is going to hit the green, how often they're going to be hitting fairways, what the average score is, how much they can lean on their putting versus around the green play based off the green regulation rate. So it kind of micro doses each hole to get a good projection for each golfer. And the micro model rankings for this week, the top 10 names are Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Shane Lowry, Kurt Kitayama, Hideki Matsuyama, Xander Schauffele, Russell Henley, Sepp Straka, Tommy Fleetwood, and Marty Doe, which is another interesting situation. Ball striking can really come in handy, and it's a ton of green regulations. He's first in the field in GR8. So that's very interesting to see there. Then we're going to be scooting over to raw strokes gained over the last 12 months, 8 months, 6 months, and 2026. And your top 10 names for raw strokes gained over that period: Scotty Scheffler, Jake Knapp, Rory, Russell, Cam Young, Xander, Ricky, Siwoo, Tommy, and Becky. All names we recognize. This is why the best players win here, because we've got the best players in the field. But I do want to mention that strokes gained in 2026 is a massive emphasis for me. As you can see, I'm using 30% of my 100% model rankings or weightings for strokes gained in 2026. We did a deep dive into what we can expect from golfers on my Back Nine Bets podcast channel last night, 3.5 hours of me and Sweet Spot DFS talking golf with you guys. We noticed that strokes gained entering the week, if you've played fantastic in 2026 versus course history, recent form is trumping it almost every single time. So don't get suckered into course history that much this week. Recent form for me is paramount. Guys playing the best golf in 2026, Scotty, Knapp, Bridgman, McIlroy, Minwoo Lee, Colin Morikawa, Siwoo Kim, Lindeque, Akshay, and Chris Gotterup are your top 10 in those rankings. Then we can scoot over to the course history side of things over here and show you guys who has gained the most strokes at this golf course, TPC Sawgrass, over the last little while. Scotties first. Daniel Berger's got a 9th, a 13th, and a 20th there, so he's second in the field. It'll be interesting to see what he gets up to after a disappointing, playoff loss. Lindeque, Corey Connors, Shane Lowry, Tom Hoagie, baby, sitting inside the top 10 for strokes gained course history at this golf course, and I love that. Akshay Bhatia, Siwoo Kim, Bud Cauley, and Danny Walker. Bud and Danny have one round or one event here only, but still solid performances from them here. Then we're going to scoot over to the boxes, and I've kind of, instead of having it all the total percentages all the way from made cuts, top 40, top 30, I'm only starting at top 20 to win this time round. So we're using the win percentages, top 5, top 10, and top 20, aka upside metrics. And if we filter by the best guys in that department, we're going to have Scotty, Rory, Tommy, Henley, Straka, Ben Griffin still doing a lot of heavy lifting from the previous season. Austin Smotherman on the KFT did well. Cam Young, Johnny Kiefer, and Robert McIntyre. They all have themselves over 100% worth of total finish rates over here, which tells you they've got a lot of upside in that department.
2025 and 2026 combined?
Correct. Yep, it's the last 14 months worth of golf, basically. So I figured, that's why you've got the recent form strokes gain bucket as well that we want to check. And then you use the metrics to kind of match these guys up nicely, cover all your bases there. The model ranking for me this week, the top 10 best ranked guys in the Model Maniac Patreon rankings are Scotty, Rory, Knapp, Henley, Lowry, Siwoo Kim, Lindeque, Colin, Akshay Bhatia, and Tommy Fleetwood rounds out number 10 there. So no Xander for me. No Tommy Fleetwood all the way down in 10 spots. We got a lot of interesting names, not quite getting it done in the recent form side of things, which I have weighted quite heavily there with 30% of my total weighting. So interesting to think. Rory McIlroy dealing with the back injury. I think Jake Knapp is returning from a WD with food poisoning or a stomach bug. At least it wasn't like a muscular thing, from what I understand, which is much better than, he was out on the range hitting golf balls today. So that was good to see. He's healthy. Big problem, if he WDs again, because he can be a very chalky option at $7,600. So we'll see how that goes. We'll talk about some more blood, sweat, and DFS tiers here shortly. But first, we're going to get into our betting segment of the show, sponsored by DraftKings. Please take a second to listen to the beautiful, wonderful words of yours truly.
The biggest players and the biggest moments, and now a big reason to try DraftKings Pick 6. Our partners at DraftKings want to get you in on the action. New DraftKings customers, this one's for you. When you deposit $5 or more, you'll get $25 in Pick 6 bonus picks instantly, plus up to 100% winnings boost. That's right, play free with $25 in bonus picks with your first $5 deposit and lock in your picks to take your shot at big wins. Pick 6 lets you lock in player picks based on real on-court action, key stats, superstar performances, and game-changing moments, all while competing in DraftKings peer-to-peer fantasy game. Get in on it and see how your picks stack up. Just use promo code FGD to sign up and start playing Pick 6, DraftKings' new peer-to-peer fantasy game, and chase that upside. If you've been thinking about trying Pick 6, now is the time to get in on the action. Just use my promo code FGD to sign up, and all new DraftKings customers who deposit just $5 will get $25 in bonus picks instantly, plus up to 100% winnings boost. Now let's build some entries. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Connecticut? Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. 18 plus in most states. Void in New York, Ontario, and where prohibited. Restrictions apply. New DraftKings customers only. Bonus award as non-withdrawable bonus picks that expire in 14 days and 1 winnings boost token. Restrictions apply. Ends 3/29/26 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos. Sponsored by DraftKings.
All right, Kenny Kim, let's get into the bets for this week, baby.
All right, so I got some bets this week, and I will say I made all these bets last night. They, the site that's open 365 days a year had the numbers early. I went there. You can get close to these numbers now, but a lot of them have dropped. But I still like all of these guys. I've been struggling a little bit this year when it comes to the betting aspect. I think I have 6 each ways only, no outrights yet, but 8 events. So really trying to get that first outright. I told myself I'm not going to overthink. I made all my bets without even looking at any research, basically from the eye test that I've had, from what I've seen this season so far. And the first one on the top of my card is going to be Colin Morikawa at 20-1 with 8 places. I got him 20-1 with 8 places. I'm not overthinking here. He has the best form of the top guys coming in, of all the top guys coming in. He has the best form. Ball striking has been elite. Top 10 year last year. Putter found some form last week. Another key factor is that he rarely misses left, right? A left miss, like I said before, in Sawgrass is deadly. Rarely ever misses left. He's got that cut that he always hits. And usually, you rarely ever see him in that left rough. Right? So this is just an easy bet. A lot of these are probably going to be chalky as hell. I don't care. I'm just basically based upon what I've seen this year. And he's been at the top of his game. And the putter looks like it's getting a little bit better. The short game, it's been average, but that's better than being not below average, right? A lot of Texas wedge, fine. Whatever you need to do to be able to get it done, and you can do that here, especially with the overseed, at this event. Next,
might be lifting in place as well for him to chip off nice lies.
Yeah. Oberg 25-1 with 8 places. Back-to-back events where he's gained strokes in every major strokes gain category. I think he was top 10 both in off the tee and approach last week at Bay Hill. In his career, he's gained almost a stroke on the field per round against very strong fields, and he has gained about a stroke around on the field whenever he plays in Florida. Dude's going to be a stud. I said last week the 45s, 35s, you're not going to see those anymore. I think you could probably get a 30 right now, maybe, in hands to win. I got 25-1 with 8 places for Oberg. Next, I had a little bit of trouble on this one. I was thinking Sepp, but I decided to go with Cam Young. 35-1, 8 places. First in the field off the tee last week, top 5 with his irons last week. Coming in with 2 top 7 finishes in a row. Really good from 125 to 150, where a lot of his approaches are going to come from. Even his short game has been above average recently. So give me Cam. Next, Adam Scott, 75-1 with 8 places. His number is tanked. I would probably still do this at like 55. You go below 50 and I'm hesitant, right? But I got 75-1 Sunday night for him. Top 16.
I'm seeing a 66 out there.
Okay, there you go. Top 16 in this field, last 24 rounds in strokes gained tee to green, strokes gained approach, strokes gained off the tee, and strokes gained ball striking. It's pretty solid numbers right there. He's been hitting the ball like a monster. The funny enough thing is his weakest part of his game, at least strokes gain wise, has been the drive. He's been putting really well. His iron game has been really good. His off the tee numbers have not been where they normally are. And I think it's because he's trying to gain speed, right? So he's missing a lot more fairways. Well, here you can take less than driving on a lot of courses. I think he'll be more accurate than we've seen compared to what he's been doing a lot of these bigger boy courses where he's trying to, use that new club head speed and hit that driver as much as possible. Here, he's going to have to play it smart. It's Pete Dye. It's positional golf. Hit it in the right spot. Hit your irons in the right spot. 2-putt, get the fuck out of there, right? You have your par 5s where you have your birdies. You have your drivable par 4 12 where you can get your birdies. Everything else, get it in the fairway, get it on the green, 2-putt, get the fuck out of there. And I think Adam can do that, right? He's been avoiding, he hasn't had that many doubles or more. I don't think he had a single one last week, right? 11th and 4th in his last 2 starts against big boy competition on big boy courses. I like Adam Scott, 75-1. Him, Rory, Scotty, and Morikawa are the 4 golfers that fit those list of trends that I talked about in the beginning. So those are the only 4 golfers that fit those trends. Like I said, you use the trends not as an end-all, be-all, but just to see what type of golfer you're looking for. And you're looking for major winners who have had good form coming in, who can ball strike the ball to death, right? And that's basically been who I'm betting, right, so far. All right. So next, it's going to be Siegler, 90-1, 8 places. I think you can get him around 75 now. I'd still be interested in that. And 75 or above, I would still be interested in Siegler, especially with the placement points, the each ways. 5 top 25s in his last 3 events, including 3 top 10s. Has a top 10 at Sawgrass in the past. Iron game has been good recently, and even though off the tee is somewhat a liability, he hasn't lost strokes off the tee in 4 events, right? One of the best in the field from 125 to 175 the last 24 rounds. It struggles putting on a Bermuda. But when overseeded with Poa Triv, you see a drastic jump in his putting splits to the good side. A humongous, like Bermuda's his worst putting surface. Poa Trivialis is his best. His overseeded Poa Trivialis
West Coast
is his best. So give me Siegler 90-1. Then I got 2 off the wall long shots I just threw out there. Bud Cauley, 275-1, had his best performance last week, top 10 the year before. At that number, I'm just going to take a flyer, 275-1. And then Lucas Glover, 300-1. Both of these with 8 places. Best week of the year last week. Runner-up last year, right? I'll go ahead and do 275 and 300 just for those. So the card for this week, it's going to be Morikawa, 20-1 with 8 places each way. Oberg, 25-1, 8 places each way. Cam Young, 35-1, 8 places each way. Adam Scott, 75-1, 8 places each way. Siegler, 90-1, 8 places. Bud Cauley, 275-1, 8 places. Lucas Glover, 300-1, 8 places.
Let's go, baby. We're going to have a winner this weekend because we've got a bit of overlap going on here. I'm going to start with the overlaps. Colin Morikawa. Makes too much sense. As good as his iron play is, I actually prefer him at more. He is one of the best iron players on the planet, but he's particularly good from 100 to 150, with wedges. He's ultra. He's a bad putter, but there's so many times where he can just give himself a free birdie by just knocking 1 to 2 feet. Anyone can make a 2-foot putt, even Colin. And when you get just freebies like that, he's going to be doing it nonstop. And the softer this course, the better for him. He's just going to be, knocking him dead from.
I think he was top 20 in strokes gained putting last week, I think.
Yeah. I mean, since he's got JJ Spahn's putter, since you told him to start using that at Pebble, he's no longer losing strokes putting. It's not like a massive deficit. It may be neutral. It may help him. I mean, he gained strokes putting when he won on Sunday at Pebble, so we've never seen him putt well when he's won a tournament or been in contention over the last little while. And with the new putter now, he can absolutely do that. So I got him at 24-1, dropped that in the Model Maniac Patreon this morning. And that seemed like a very fair number in my opinion. So we're going to be waiting on the weather.
Great win.
Sorry?
Great win. No each way in the 24-1?
Well, I'm not placing any placements yet until I see like all of the weather. I'm just gonna. I also too just zoned in on the subconscious to like. I don't bet Colin Morikawa. I laugh at people that bet Colin Morikawa, but it's too obvious. And 2041 was a very fair number. I was expecting him to probably be 16, 18 to 1 this week, given how he's been playing. That's very, very fair. And you get 20 with 8 places. That's delightful, Kenny. So let's see what happens there. Then I've got Sahith Theegala as well with you. There's 100 out at the place. If you're like a fan of the duels, you can absolutely find 100 to 1 right now out there. Everyone else has got it at 82 on DraftKings. And remember I mentioned, I'm looking for strokes gain 2026. Who's playing well right now? Sahith Theegala is playing fantastic golf, people. I mean, he's finishing inside the top 20 almost every single time he's teeing it up right now. We've got an 8th, a 7th, an 18th, a 22nd, and then he just finished 6th at the API. So he is just vibing hard. He's one of the most fun and enjoyable guys to watch play golf because as well as he's scoring, it's off the rails like every single hole. Like he was just chipping his face off out at API, and he's incredible around the green. So he can absolutely turn a misgreen into a win or a chip in, sorry. He finished 90th in 2024. So like to see that from Sahith. That's good over there. I'm going to dive into a Russell Henley. I found a 40 to 1 this morning on DraftKings. And Russell Henley just finished 6th at the API and didn't gain anything ball striking. He did all of that with the short game. And that's not surprising because he is just very good in the short game department. I think at a course like this, where he's a bit more accurate, where the mid-irons and the wedges can really be leaned on, he's a much better mid-iron player than the long irons, in my opinion. So we'll see what Henley can do. And 40 to 1 for a top 10 golfer in the world at a course that's a really good course fit, in my opinion, makes far too much sense. That was just a freebie number. I think that's now dropped into the 29s or the 30s.
I will say he's in my cash lineup. I like him a lot. Not enough to bet him this week, but he's not one of my cash game cornerstones, but he is in my cash lineup as of now.
He's a Sex Panther for a reason, baby. 60% of the time he's inside the top 20, 100% of the time. So now it's like pushing deep into the 70s, really, for Russell Henley. He's finishing inside the top 20, 71% of the time, which is nuts.
Or his last file.
Yeah, it's incredible. So he's going to give you a really high floor for the most part. And he's got, 3 top 30s here in the last 4 starts. So not necessarily the greatest upside, but again, course history, as long as it's fine, I think the form that Henley's in now, especially after API, I think we can expect some good things from Russell Henley, who's just mispriced, in my opinion. The disrespect on his name is nuts. He came in at 6% ownership last week. Like, what on earth is that about? This is Russell Henley we're talking about. This guy's a boss. So we'll see what Russell Henley can get up to. I've got Sepp Straka as well on the card at 51 to 1. I mean, we're just thinking about guys playing good golf this year. Sepp was hunting a win, basically, when he woke up Sunday morning and then just shit the bed and finished like 13th at the API, which is whatever, but he was in the mix. And I don't really necessarily think the API is the best golf course for Sepp either. So give me Sepp with like soft, durable golf course that's just susceptible to good iron play, which Sepp's been doing. And if you take a look at what Sepp has got up to, we've got a 9th, a 16th, and a 14th at the Players in the past. I say course history doesn't matter, but it's never bad to have good course history, yeah? The trend said you need a couple top 25s or something. He finished 2nd at Pebble, 13th at the API. So that was, enough good form for me coming into the week at 51 to 1 for Sepp Straka. Like this guy's a perennial winner on the PGA Tour. Kenny mentioned how often he just wins tournaments like nonstop. Isn't he one of the few people that's won like multiple years in a row, back to back to back years, like 3 years in a row or something like that. So we're looking to make it 4 this year. Minwoo Lee, 47 to 1. This dude is actually balling out, people. 6th year in 2023, 20th in 2025, and we are just looking at 3 straight top 12s in signature events for Minwoo Lee. And it looks like, from the eye test, watching him in contention on Sunday, it was hilarious because he whipped out that driving wood, the mini driver, and hit like a beautiful ropey little draw around the corner on 1. Outdrove Colin Morikawa by 1,000,000 miles. Colin hits it to dead for a free birdie on one. Minwoo Lee dunks it into the bunker, makes a bogey, like very first hole with the wedge. But what I'm trying to get at is he's actually really improved his iron play a lot. And it looks like he's not, with all the power that he has, he's just hitting like a 3/4 sawed-off swings now. Kind of like we've seen Rory when he's really doing the best with his wedges. He's like finessing a wedge. He's not trying to rip a pitching wedge 155 yards, which Minwoo can be doing, So we're getting some really good course vibes from him here. He hits that 2-iron around this golf course very comfortably. He's like obviously shown us with the course history. He hasn't missed a cut in the last 3 years. So a second place finish at the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, I think, is something I'm in the mood for as well. 47-1 for one of the best informed golfers on the tour right now. Love that. 70-1 number play on a process situation here is the 4th best golfer in the world, Justin Rose, who's got some of the craziest stats. I mean, he just won at the Farmers this year, and I think he kind of tries his best to win at these big events. I would imagine he hasn't won the Players before, has he? So
No.
It's a situation that I'm sure he's looking to check that off before he dies, which might not be long because Justin Rose is old. So I'm just joking. People, don't take me too seriously there, please. We've got a 6th place finish here in 2023 for Rosie amidst 3 missed cuts. So this is, that's literally what his recent form looks like as well. There's 1 million missed cuts in a first. So you're getting all sorts of interesting numbers from Justin Rose, and 70-1 for someone that knows how to win a golf tournament when he's in the mix is a very fair number, in my opinion. He's just a method play, and at 70-1 at a course like this, I'm in.
I think that number can drift. If you wait for the week, I think that number can drift even higher. I'm definitely looking at him for DFS because he's going to be low owned. So yeah, I like that bet.
He's not there's an 82 out there somewhere. So, you can absolutely find him.
Close to 100.
Yeah. Hang tight.
You can get it close to 100.
Yeah.
With some enhanced, maybe like a boost or something like that. I think you might be if you get that 30% boost that some of these sites drop on Wednesday, like afternoons, you might be able to get over 100-1 for him.
Amen, Kenny. Take your time, guys. Let the numbers drift. I don't think too many people will be betting him. There's not a lot to like outside of just his long-term ability to just win golf tournaments randomly.
I would say the guys I bet, you probably want to bet now. Okay, right?
Well, yes. They've already
chalky bets. Those are the ones you want to get on early. But Rose, I think you wait.
Fair. Very, very fair. That's going to be it for me in the normal ranges. And then we're going to get to Lindeque's ladder of the week for you guys. We've got a top 5, a top 10, a top 20, and an outright on Tom Hoge. Tom Hoge can be found at 330-1. He can be found for a top 5 at 36-1, a top 10 at 15-1, and 6-1 for a top 20. If I'm talking to you about Tom Hoge, remember I mentioned strokes gained course history here? Tom Hoge was number 6 in that model, right? He's gained 1.6 strokes over the last 5 years per round around TPC Sawgrass. I believe he is one of the co-owners of the course record at TPC Sawgrass. Do I like it that it's going to be super windy this week? No, I want Tom to just rain birdies on this venue. But if he gets into the weekend, he could potentially keep that going. We've got 2 third-place finishes here, and he hasn't missed a cut in 5 straight years. When you play Tom Hoge, you play him at courses that he plays well at. He finished 8th at the Amex, where he's got fantastic course history, and he finished 14th at Pebble Beach. So at the Players, that's going to absolutely come to fruition again. Ridiculous numbers. 6-1 for a top 20 on a guy that's had 1 million of them here. I'm all for Tom Hoge this week in Lindeque's ladder bet of the week. I will be dropping, obviously, I don't even know if I'll be doing all my placement bets on my show tomorrow at 3 Eastern. I'll have Brad Thomas, Mr. Brad BLT. It's not often I invite somebody on to my show who's got much better hair than me, Kenny, and Brad is definitely one of those guys. So I'll be wearing the wig for sure, just to kind of keep my confidence a little higher than it should be. Tune in 3 Eastern here on Mayo Media live on Tuesdays. We'd love to see you guys there. Kenny, let's dive into a couple blood, sweat, and DFS tiers for this week's Players Championship.
The 10K range is tough. I got no fucking clue what I'm doing. Because here's the thing. Scotty is going to be the lowest he's ever been, but it's going to be very hard to make a lineup with him. All right. You got Rory, who's not at spring chicken anymore. right? Back injury where he just shot 4 under. And he was in like the top 10 going in Saturday, and to withdraw from a big time event, it has me worried. Like, because it's not like once you get to 35, 38 years old, I think it's 36, I don't know. He's somewhere around it. It's a lot harder to recover, especially from a back injury, especially from like soft tissue injuries. He has the best physio guys. I'm sure he has the best doctors out there. But if he's like 12% owned, I might have to think about it, because you can make Rory lineups from his price. Is Fleetwood going to be owned at all after a poor performance last week? Is Fleetwood going to be the highest owned or the lowest owned in the 10K range? I have no fucking clue. Like, I am so lost in this 10K because, again, we're doing this Monday. I don't really read other people's stuff. I don't know what other people are saying. So I'm going to have to wait till Wednesday till I see some ownership projections to really make a decision. It's very possible I don't roster anyone. And I'm not against Tommy this week. He had a bad showing last week, but he had, what, a 4th and a 7th the 2 weeks prior, right? He's had good showings here in the past. I remember when I went to the Players and saw Rory win in 2019, Rory wasn't even in the final group. I think Fleetwood was. I think Fleetwood and DJ were in the final group, and Rory had already won it, right? Being the group in front. So, you know, he's been in the final group with the Players. I think he had a top 15 last year. He has good finishes. I'm interested in Tommy at 10,300, but I have no idea what his ownership is. It's going to be like 20% or more. Probably not. But again, if it's I
think Colin is going to soak it all up underneath him there at $9,800.
Yeah.
If I told you now, who would you play, Tommy or Colin?
Well, I'm playing Colin, no doubt.
Right. And Colin's $500 cheaper. The Sims are going to just shove him in there. So game theory play, I honestly think Tommy, again, the API 49th place finish is whatever. I did not touch him last week because he's terrible around there.
Yeah.
He, for some reason, just doesn't play good golf at Bay Hill. Plays fine here at TPC Sawgrass.
I think a lot of people are going to think our way, and they're going to see Scotty struggling, and they're going to see Rory, and I think his ownership might be more than you think, because you can make a Morikawa Tommy lineup. It's not that difficult. There's plays in the 6K range. I mean, you could probably even fit another 8K guy in there and still be fine. And then throw in like Thigala and Adam Scott, and and be able to make that lineup. But again, I'm not sure after last week's bad event, and like you said, Morikawa being right underneath. I am sort of lost when it comes to these top guys. I have no sight of what to expect. So I'm definitely going to wait until I see ownership to see if I'm going to play any of these guys. But the first guy that pops into my head is Tom.
Yeah, I will be on the record being very certain that Colin will come in higher owned than Tommy.
Oh, way higher owned.
I don't know what else is going to happen.
Tommy would be maybe 20%.
Yeah.
18%. It's possible. Even if Morikawa is 40%, it's possible, and that could be the highest owned guy in the 10K range. I don't know. Definitely have to look at those ownership projections on Wednesday night.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. So make sure you're tuning in to all the places you can get your ownership. I do provide that in the Model Maniac Patreon as well for all of you there. Every evening we update it when they come out. So I think it's going to be an interesting situation. He hasn't necessarily grayed out the greatest for me. He hasn't, been playing fantastic this year. The 2 starts that he had this year in Dubai were very mediocre, 25th and 41st. So there's a chance people don't gravitate to him. He hasn't been fantastic. 1 top 5 this year is not necessarily the greatest for someone that you're getting the 3rd ranked price for, so we've spoken about Colin in abundance, people. I think in particular, once we find out tee times for Thursday, I'll be shoving him into every single round 1 showdown lineup. Colin Morikawa in round 1 it's his best metric of the bunch. He's gaining 1.8 strokes in round 1 over the last 14 months, which is 0.8 strokes more than any of his other splits. And this was when he was playing badly last year. He was still gaining almost 2 strokes per round in the opening round. So he gets off to really good starts. Maybe if you've missed some of his numbers and things like that, great way to get exposure to Colin is round 1 showdown, first round leader stuff, for that. I'm just going to dive right into the Statfish of the week because he's early. He's well up the pricing board over here. We are looking at a man that is a 2-time major champion. He's somebody that finished second here in 2024. That was the same year he won 2 majors. I don't think he's the same guy right now after a rib injury that began in 2025. And he's only ever had 1 top 5 on the PGA Tour in the last 14 months. And it came in Japan while we were all sleeping. He won the Bay Current. It's Xander Schauffele. He's $9,600 this week and has not finished inside the top 5 on American soil. He chipped his face off to finish 7th at the Genesis, and outside of that, his next best finish this year on the PGA Tour is at 19th. He is $9,600. I prefer him on golf courses where it's a bit more wide open, where he can really lean on the long iron play. He's just been scrapping it together. He's got one of the worst course histories here. He's finished 72nd here last year, 2 missed cuts before that. So there's a lot to dislike about Xander. He's just not giving you the upside you are looking for somebody in this price. Do I think he's going to miss the cut like I have predicted with old Patrick Cantley last week? We hooked another one out of the pond for you guys, people. So Statfishers are less and less in the Lindeque pond over here on the Fantasy Golf Degenerates. Be sure to be avoiding Xander Schauffele this week at $9,600. I just don't see him getting it done on a course that's demanding every aspect of your game to be in pristine shape. And I think he's just been scraping it by on some courses he's quite familiar with. Xander Schauffele is the Statfish of the week. Who do you like in the ninth game?
My first cash game cornerstone. Pretty simple. We've talked about him. It's pretty easy. The guy's playing the best out of all the top guys. He's had a good finish here. He fits that trend thing that I talked about earlier. We're going with Colin, first cash game cornerstone. I really like Goddard this week. I think 4 of the last 8 winners or something like that have won the Sony. Basically everybody except Rory and Scotty that have won in the last 8 years has won Sony. You see, I mean, of course, it's before those 8 years was Rory and Scott, and they have never won Sony because they don't play some. But the other 4, I think Cam, JT,
Siwoo,
and somebody else, those 4, they've all won the Sony, just like Goddard. I bet him live last week, 45-1 on Sunday. Didn't pan out, but the way he's playing, again, he's had 2 wins this year. Big fan of Goddard. This week in GPPs, going to be playing him. Henley, what we talked about, he is in my cash lineup. As of now, my second highest priced guy. Didn't have him as a cash game cornerstone because I could adjust that because right now I have him and Thigala as my final 2 spots in my cash lineup, and I'll lay out the other 3 cash game cornerstones. But I do like Henley. Like you said, the floor is very high for him. Just looking at the guys around him, I think he is the safest option because, I mean, it's still a cut event now. It's not the way it used to be. I think it's 123 golfers instead of 154 like it used to be. They definitely, lowered the amount of golfers. So, only half are being cut instead of like 60%. But, still, you want to get 66. That's the easiest way to cash in cash lineups. I'm going with Henley in cash.
Russell Henley is also inside the top 5 21% of the time. Like 1 in every 5 starts, he's top 5ing.
All 6 of my guys, I think, can win. I really like this cash line. Like all 6 of these guys, I think can win. I made the lineup Sunday night, and I was like, wow, I really like this lineup. I might not change it at all. As the week goes on, of course, we'll have to see with the weather. But I made it, and I'm like, yo, these 6 guys, like I will, like Henley just missed my card. And I guess the other 5 are on my card.
There's your cash game cornerstones, folks. Just give a quick little rewind. Just kidding. We do love producer Mike with the wonderful timestamps for all of you guys out there. Hit the like and subscribe while we're rocking and rolling there. I like a bit of Siwoo Kim, Kenny, at $9,300. Obviously a past champion. He's got 2 top 10s in the last 5 years. And what we noticed with him is he just started with Siwoo Kim off the top rope, 6 straight starts to begin the year. And we saw a bit of fatigue probably setting in at Pebble and the Genesis Invitational. He finished outside the top 30 in both of those, but then showed up for a 13th place finish at the API after magically missing the Cognizant Classic. I mean, the guy probably was just turning in his bed watching these guys play golf while he was on the couch. But, he needed some rest. And I like the fact that he's rested up. I like the fact that he suits this golf course. He's 6th in my model. He's, obviously a past winner of this event. Give me some Siwoo Kim in this range. Chris got her up to kind of add on to what you were saying there. I don't fancy him if we see the weather calming down a bit. I love him in the wind. Absolutely adore him in the wind. I think he is one of the best wind players on the PGA Tour. Based off the eye test, I'm sure there's metrics out there as well.
I mean, playing in Oklahoma, I've played in Oklahoma. You can get a bit breezy there.
Oh, very, very breezy. He's easy, breezy, lemon squeezy. But the thing is, for him, he's 18th at the API. I think he's one of his first top 20s in a signature event. So I understand he did finish 4th at the Open Championship. Another very good fit for him. Windy ass, link style, low trajectory stuff. With it being wet and susceptible, I don't know how great it's going to work out for him. I don't think I'll be playing him outside of Showdown, in the wind. So we'll see that. I'll be playing a lot of Russell Henley as well. Going with him. Lots of Colin. Diving into the 8s, we've got ourselves a Bobby Magnet. We've got a Matt Fitzpatrick, who let us down last week. We've got a Justin Thomas, who shot 14 over par at the Arnold Palmer Invitational before missing the cut. Not good, Bob. He's $8,000. Kenny, who's 17-foot pole are you not touching Justin Thomas with this week?
Yeah, no, JT. I mean, the 8K range looks like it could be a dead zone, other than Oberg and Cam Young. Oberg, of course, is my second cash game cornerstone. Again, the ball striking was elite last week. The guy's going to be a stud. Bet him. He tends to play better in these when the field is strong. Like, he doesn't mind playing with the big boys. Definitely love Oberg in cash. Cam Young is my third cash game cornerstone this week. I think, if I'm not mistaken, hold on, let me make sure I'm not screwing
up. You bet
up.
him.
I think definitely, Cam Young at 8,100 is my third cash game cornerstone. He was even better than Oberg last week when it came to the ball striking. His short game even looked pretty good. The guy's coming in with a couple of good finishes. So those two are definitely going to be anchors in cash. Now, if you have the balls to play anyone, I think Ben Griffin, Patrick Cantlay, and Sam Burns are unplayable. I think the way that they are playing right now, I just don't see them. But if you can get behind, Rosie's going to be lower owned. We talked about him. I think he makes for a great GPP play, single-digit ownership. If you're looking to, play the game theory, because, he wants to win these big boy events. We've seen it happen. Like, he sort of plays up to these type of events when it comes into it. So I can get behind Rose. I can get behind Fitzy back again. I mean, the thing about Fitz is when it comes to him, it's either boom or bust here. It's miscut or top 10, basically. And I think with his performance last week, hurting a lot of people, you can get lower ownership on him. I think, Fitz, Lowry, maybe even Bobby Mack, those guys, maybe single-digit ownership, maybe can win you a GPP, because I think this 8K range is going to be dead.
I hope so, Kenny, because I really like a bunch of names in this range. Shane Lowry's a phenomenal option at $8,600. Fifth in the model. If you take a look at Shane Lowry's finishes at the Players, where course history is very difficult to rep out solid finishes here. In the last 5 years, he hasn't finished outside the top 35. He's got 4 top 20s at this golf course at $8,600. Entering the API, he had an 8th, a 24th, and a 2nd. He's playing fantastic golf outside of the miscut after a debilitating loss at the Cognizant. I think he's Guinnessed his way around, all of the sorrows there, hopefully, over the weekend while he was watching Rory, I guess. And funny enough, how they both missed the weekend together. That's just what they get up to. If we can get Shane paired with Rory over the weekend, it's even better because those two are superpowers when they're playing well in the same mix. Bobby Mack, we've mentioned the scoring conditions are going to be well over par per round, with the wind especially gusting up there. Hopefully we can continue to see play and balls don't get blown off the green and the water doesn't log the course up. But Bobby Mack is fantastic. He gains 1.5 strokes in hellish conditions. That's where he gets his stuff done. He's Scottish, nasty weather, mudder. Just put on the rain gear and go shoot under par somehow, Bobby. At $8,800. Finished 9th here last year and hasn't been fantastic this year, but it hasn't been bad either. So I think he could be very much under the radar in this department. Ludwig makes tons of sense, Kenny. I think, he will likely be quite popular, though, in this range. And Cameron Young is interesting to me. What is his best finish at this course, Kenny? He hasn't finished inside the top 50 in 4 starts.
Right, but he's made 3 cuts. He made 3 or 4 cuts. I have him in cash. I think what my strategy for this week, because my cash plays are going to be so chalky, right, is to limit my cash guys to my cash lineup and probably one other line. Put maybe three of my cash guys that I like in there and finagle the other 3 or something like that. And then the other 2 lineups I make probably won't have any of them. Just to be different, because like I said, my cash line is going to be super chalky. And if I use these guys in every lineup, I mean, it's I can't have Cam Young and Oberg in every line. I can't have Morikawa and Oberg in multiple lineups. It's just going to be too chalky. It's just going to be impossible to win. So I think when it comes down to it, I'll have 2 lineups that are going to be pretty chalky and 2 lineups with none of these guys in my cash lineup in.
Okay. Not going to just spread them out as
it could be like that. Maybe like 1 here, 1 there, maybe like that. But it's going to be very limited. I'm not going to roster my cash guys in more than 2 lineups. How about that? One of them is my cash lineup, so they're already in there. So these guys that are in my cash lineup this week are at most going to be in one other line, tops. To
of
give
the 4 that you play.
Of the 4 that I'm making this week.
Perfect. Yeah. I don't want to be the guy that goes against your dude, but I do think Cam Young is a perfect fade, in my opinion, because he'll come in quite high earned. And again, we don't know what we're going to be getting from him, given the course track record there. In the 7s, we've got multiple winners in the field here, with Akshay Bhatia just winning the API and our good friend Jacob Bridgman, the Genesis Invitational winner, at $7,900. Bridgman hasn't finished outside the top 18, Kenny, in 2026.
Yeah, go ahead and play the music, Mike. Bridgman is my hustle play of the week. Now, here's the thing. I'm a little bit worried his ownership might be high, but it might not, because he has Cameron Young above him. He's got Bhatia below him. He's got Knapp below him. He's got Straka below him, and he's got Min Woo below him. Like right in that 7,500 and up range. So I'm hoping that maybe we can get him in high single digits when it comes to Jacob Bridgman. It was either going to be him or Ricky Fowler. And I think Fowler might be higher owned than Bridgman. I don't know. Again, I'm not an ownership guru. I'm taking wild stabs here. But I'm hoping for like 8-9% for Bridgman. 8 straight top 20s, or 6 straight top 20s, including a win. Big boy fields haven't phased him this season. One of the best putters in the world currently, but his ball striking is nothing to sneeze at. The few times he has putted on Poetry Trivialis, he's actually been better than his current baseline. All right. So again, putting on Poetry Trivialis, might be wrong about his ownership, like I said, but he's surrounded by all these guys that are going to be popular. I'm really hoping that he goes like 8, 9, 10% owned. And we can get him, and he will be my hustler play of the week. Other guys that I do like, I like your Min Woo call. I like your Sepp Straka call. I will go back to Jake Knapp. Like you said, stomach virus, I think that's something that you can get over in a week, right? And all his numbers just lead me to believe that he's going to do well. He's top 10. He's 10th in tee to green last 24 rounds in this field. Top 25 in off the tee. I think top 35 in approach. Top 20 in ball striking, putting his ass off, 5th in strokes gained par 4 scoring, 1st in strokes gained par 5 scoring, 1st in bogey avoidance, right? So I do like Knapp up here. Who do you like in the top end?
Yeah, I mean, those all three of them, Knapp, Sepp Straka, and Minwoo Lee check 4 boxes of the 7, and they're in the 7K range. That's hard to find that kind of upside. Akshay checks 5, at $7,700. I don't know how we feel about him going. It's the players. I don't think he's going to be partying that hard this week. I think he's going to dial it in. He's playing fantastic golf.
It's become old hat for him, right?
Let's hope so.
Different story. Third win.
And it's the players. He's going to want to win this tournament, and he makes fantastic sense at this. He finished third year last year. So, I mean, it's a no-brainer. There's a lot of... The thing is, Kenny, with so many nice names in the 7 here, that's making Scotty relatively appealing too. But, just kind of thinking about that now as we get into the 7s. A name that also checks 4 boxes, along with those other 3 we just mentioned earlier ago, is Harris English, $7,500. 2 top 30s here in the last 2 starts, and he's got the curious case of the 20s. He hasn't finished worse than 28th, and he hasn't finished better than 22nd this year. Just one of my lineups that had Rory in it had English, and he was cooking until the final. I think he made double on 17 and hit in the water on 18 or something like that, or 3-putted. And one of those 3 putts avoided was a 2-footer that he missed. So he's super safe. He's driving the ball fantastically. He's 20th in the field in strokes gained off the tee over the last 12 months. So we're getting someone that's, amidst all of these other names up here, I think will be under-owned. I mean, he was 5 or 6% owned at API last week as one of the best course history guys at API too. He's played fantastically there and was on track for a top 10 until he made, some really bad shots down the stretch there. So at $7,500, you just need him to finish inside I'll take the 22nd place finish that he's been rattling off all year at this price, and this ownership too. If you're looking in hellish conditions, Harris English does his best work in hard and hellish conditions, gains over a stroke on the field in both of those categories. So he's a great option in my opinion. And you mentioned Ricky Fowler. He's starting to do that stuff, Kenny, where he's just repping out incredibly solid finishes. And he was doing that when he won the Rocket eventually, he just showed up there. And then that was after just
popular, but I like him.
Yeah, he will be popular. Remember, we're getting wind, we're getting rain. There's water everywhere on this golf course. Don't fall in love with people. Sprinkle the popular guys in a couple lineups here and there. Don't clump them all together like Kenny's been mentioning. But I do think Ricky Fowler, some of the chalk is going to come through this week. So Ricky at $7,400 could be quite chalky, but he's giving you a reason to go there. Some other names, Marco Penge. We saw a bit of life from him at the Genesis Invitational. He actually does some really good work in hard and hellish conditions as well. He's one of these super long guys that can just be like Min Woo and hit 2-iron around TPC Sawgrass. And his wedge game for somebody that's got as much distance as him is actually very impressive.
I think he's for a good first-round leader bet because what he said after the last time he played was he does not like hitting into firm greens, right? He says it's a thing about him. Like if you see that the greens are going to be firm and Penge is playing, avoid him because he even admitted that he's just not used to it. It's not something they normally see in the European Tour. All right. And so he's just not comfortable on firm greens. It's supposed to rain a bunch on Thursday. It's supposed to be
16th at the Genesis. Soft ass greens.
The softest the greens will be Thursday, will be the first round. I think you're looking at him because the guy can get hot and he can go low, right? Especially if the greens are receptive. And I feel like that first round, the greens are going to be receptive. Now on Sunday, I don't know. But that first round, I think is something where a showdown. Also for a first round leader bet, Penge. I like that play.
Let's go.
Now
just had a baby.
It just had a kid, got the nappy factor going, definitely. Now I will say my final cash game cornerstone is going to be Adam Scott down here at $7,300. We talk about it. The ball striking has been unbelievable. The putting has been good. He's won here before, now 22 years ago, but he won here in the past.
22 years ago.
Yeah. But I like Adam Scott. He is my final cash game cornerstone. So cash game cornerstones for this week are going to be Colin Morikawa at $9,800. Ludwig Oberg at $8,700. Cam Young at $8,100. Adam Scott at $7,300. I'm filling it out with Russell Henley at $9,000 and Sahith Theegala at $7,000. It's going to be my cash lineup. I seriously doubt I'm going to change it unless the weather is outrageous. And again, I've won 3 in a row, so obviously, and I love this lineup so much, obviously, it's going to go 3 of 6, and shit's going to go haywire. But until that happens, I am in love with this cash lineup. So if I get in trouble with DraftKings, fuck them, tell them to fuck off. All right? So, that's what we're going to do. This is for the people. This is for the people. This is why we do the show. DraftKings, I'm kidding. I love you. Anyways, other guys I do like. Minwoo is the one that you talked about down here. Ricky Fowler, we talked about. Big fan of him this week. Theegala in the betting segment, in my cash lineup. Pretty easy. Penge, like we said, first round leader. First round showdown, maybe even second round showdown if it's still soft. Give me some Penge. Here's a Tune, 7,100. The numbers say he should play this course well. He had a great early February. Let's see if he can reminisce on some of that. I mean, we played this a month ago. He's probably the highest owned golfer in the low 7K range, right? But 4 weeks, he had a couple of bad outings. Let's see if he can get back to where he is on a course that really should suit him. And the way he has been playing when he was playing well. Tune is a guy I like at 7,100. Anybody else down here? I know you like Hoagie.
Obviously, Hoagie's going to be in the mix. He doesn't model out great, but we know what we know about playing Hoagie at Hoagie courses. I think also Corey Connors and Daniel Berger at $7,100 each. I mean, I think Berger's going to be looking great here. I mean, he's played fantastic at this golf course before. We also had the infamous Daniel Berger, Joel Damon, Victor Hovland waded across the water hazard on 16 video, like a 12-minute video. It's an incredible. I just watched it the other day. It was so crazy to see like how they got about navigating that rule. So that will be interesting there. Alex Noren at $7,200 as well has got 2 top 26s at this golf course in the last little while and is starting to find his groove in these signature events. Missed two cuts before that at the Farmers and the Amex, but nothing but top 30s for Alex Noren since. So $7,200 on a course that I think, if you're thinking about treacherous conditions, I mean, Alex Noren is that guy. European dude, great short game, hits bullets, love it. Let's go. In the $6,000 range, Kenneth Kim, I'm seeing a Pearson Coody that ranks 16th in my model. He is one of the best drivers of the golf ball. He hits the 6th most green regulations at a course like this, given the fact that he's the 4th best driver in the field. 21st around the greens, checks 3 boxes for a $6,700 golfer. Just missed the cut at the API. Not worried about that. It was one of his, worst performances of the year. A 2nd, an 18th, a 13th, a 10th, and a 16th are also in his recent form. $6,700, Pearson Coody. One of my favorite plays in the 6K range.
He's one of my favorites up here. I mean, you think about it, he's top 20 tee to green in the last 24 rounds. He's been crushing par fives here recently. And for some reason, there it is. There's my mouse. He's been crushing the par fives. His best approach range is 125 to 150. He's going to see a lot of approaches with his length off the tee from that range. Big Coody fan this week. I mean, if you're looking for course history, Danny McCarthy never missed a cut here at $6,900. Other guys, Bud Cauley, good performance last week. Top 10 here last year. He's the guy that I'll be looking at. Mac Meisner rates out well. Top 20 tee to green in this field. Iron game exceptionally strong. Again, really good on par fives. I like Meisner down here in the 6K range. Even if you go even farther, we can look at Marty Dew. We talked about him earlier in the Byron's boxes segments. He was in there for hard condition courses. I think he played pretty well last week in Puerto Rico, if I'm not mistaken. I like Marty Dew a lot. at $6,200.
Yeah, there's a lot of nice names down here. I mean, I heard somewhere that Ryan Fox
86,000 flat.
Yeah,
6,000 that's flat. Scotty do.
Scotty do. Yeah, exactly. And then you can throw Ryan Fox in there at $6,500. He's got 2 top 30s in the last 3 starts at the Players. He's got nothing but top 24s. He's got 3 top 24s and a 7th in his last 4 starts on the PGA Tour. 3 of them being signature events. He's $6,500. You know, like he should easily be in the 7K range, in my opinion. He's ranked 27th in my model. So he's getting his 1.4 strokes in hard conditions, which is easily his best metric. Very, very sharp. And like, did he win the BMW championship when it was a rainy, wet BMW championship at the Wentworth a couple years ago? I do believe he beat Aaron Rye that week. So, you know, like in a wet, claustrophobic golf course, Ryan Fox is somebody I'm in the mood for. Austin Smotherman, $6,400 back on the range. Keith Stewart at Read the Line posted 2, you know, attendance checks there. Jake Knapp and Austin Smotherman, both on the range, hitting golf balls. Whatever Smotherman had on Sunday or Saturdays is gone. You know, he's back playing good golf. And he's playing good golf. You know, spiky guy. 8th and a 2nd in the last couple starts for him on the PGA Tour. Miscuts everywhere else. So, you know, he's $6,400. I'll take a gamble on him there. Haotong Lee, 36th in the model, $6,400. One of the best iron players. You know, like this guy can get scorched earth. He showed up last minute at API, made a triple randomly, you know, and almost still made the cut.
Second on difficult courses in your boxes too.
Exactly. So he's checking like gains 2 strokes on hard courses. You know,
that's
he
what
grinds,
I'm saying.
grinds hard. So I love that for him over here. And then Marty Doe, like you mentioned, 6K flat, boom chakalaka. We'll be looking at SH Kim for first round leader as well. He'll be ridiculously high price, you know, like probably 150 to 1 for a first round leader. SH Kim, all round one showdown. Love that for him. That's going to be it for us on the blood, sweat, and tears side of things here for DFS. Thank you, DraftKings, for sponsoring the show. Use code FGD when you guys are first time using that app over there. One and dones. I've now had Shane finish 2nd and Henley finish 6th. So we're starting to find our feature.
In a groove.
I have no idea who I'm going to go with this week.
I'm going Morikawa and Minwoo. I'm going with the fake Asians.
I might just join you with Minwoo. Like, that makes too much sense to me.
Going with the fake Asians. Like I'm a fake Asian. We're all fake Asians. Yep.
Okay. Again, I think one and done, the beauty of it, the numbers aren't going to change. The same with DFS. You know, they're all staying there. More information, the better, especially this week with the weather. Pay attention. Follow me and Kenny on X. We'll be posting all sorts of interesting things. I'll be sure to put my last minute loser thread out on Wednesday for all of you last minute losers to not be last minute losers. We'll just give you everything you need to know for the week. I'll put weather in there as well so we know where we're going. Follow me at the Model Maniac on X. Check out the Model Maniac Patreon. Use code PLAYERS26 to get 50% off your first month of the Golf Sicko tier over there. DFS, one and done tools, all my Model Maniac bets. I've got all my cheat sheets, everything. The chats are fun. We've got a tilt channel that people just love. You see some incredible gifts in there too, because people love to lose their shit over the bets they've placed. So, Kenny, get us the hell out of here for the Players Championship, please.
Follow me on X at Kendo VT. Any live betting, any cool information, stats, or anything that I see for Players Week, I'll have up on there. To the new followers I've had recently, thank you. Make sure you go follow me on X. It's the Players Championship. It's not really the 5th major, but it is a big boy event, and it should be fun. Let's win some motherfucking money, DGen Nation.